Well. No, I think this is it. The door's open. Oh. Must take. Hello. Sure?
Yeah.
How do you do?
Hello. How you doing?
You've come to meet a load of ladies, have you?
Pardon?
You've come to meet the ladies, have you?
I think so. Well, I don't know who we're meeting.
Sarah, down here.
Thank you.
Shimmy through that. Next time they come out, we'll have that moved.
That's all right there. Hello. What a place to have a meeting, hey?
Good afternoon.
Hiya.
Hi.
I'm John.
Hi, John.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, hi. I'm not John, I'm Celia. I'm
Celia?
Sarah Mendoza. I'm the PCC secretary. I'm the one who's been...
Right,
sent over.
hello.
You know me.
Of course I know you. How you doing?
Hi, Helen. Sarah Mendoza. Celia's our treasurer. Hi, Jules.
We haven't met, but hello.
Hello there. And Linda, you know Linda, do you?
Linda is.
And Stuart is
Linda,
our
hi,
church
Stuart.
warden.
Others to join you?
Nope, just us.
Just be us.
Chair closer.
Make it a bit cosy then, we didn't have any. Yeah. Oh, we're going to look a bit more heavy, aren't we?
Put it closer, Jane. Yeah. And then we can... Yeah. Well, we didn't know exactly, what topic you wanted to bring up, so we're all here to meet you.
Right, fine.
And I know that Linda, has had a lot to do with you in the past. So, Linda's obviously been doing all the hall bookings and managing the hall.
Yeah.
So she's the one you've had all the contact with up until now.
Yes.
So, we would be very happy to meet with you. And maybe you just want to talk through what your, what the issues are now.
The biggest thing was the fact that you've invoiced us for £600.
Yes.
We worked out that we don't need to pay that much, even if we did need, because we weren't using all the rooms at the time.
The problem is, Helen,
we couldn't use the rooms because there was no heating. The roof was being done. We had to open the back door.
Is this from January?
Yes, because the door frame was glass, so we had to open the back door, so we couldn't use the back room. One with the piano. The one with the piano. The small hall. Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Why couldn't you use it?
Because it's stinking of gloss paint.
Okay.
Every time we went in there, we had to clean. It was absolutely filthy. Everything was really dirty, including the kitchen. I've got photographs.
We have been trying to arrange a meeting for some time,
and
haven't
we asked for a meeting. That first letter that we ever wrote to you, we asked if we could have a meeting.
Yeah, I was away on holiday. I'd just gone on holiday for 3 weeks, and the problem is, as you can appreciate, we are all volunteers as well.
Yeah,
all doing many different, wearing different hats. Between the ferry, the church hall, the church, and what you do as well, your job. So we're all extremely busy, and it's not that we were ignoring you, but also we only have a BCC meeting every 2 months. We didn't have an incumbent at that stage. I mean, luckily we've now got Jules that was from March, but at that time we were under an awful lot of pressure. I know it's no excuse, but that was the reason. We just wanted to wait until we knew we were getting someone coming to look after us, but we knew that wouldn't be until March. So this is why there was a delay in responding to your letter as well, John.
Well, it was the whole response as well. There was no letter to say this. There was no response to tell us that away or whatever. It was just left, and we were left in limbo, trying to organise a volunteer group. And getting very short notice of the availability. So we literally found out the day before, didn't we, on one of our sessions, that whether it was going to go ahead or not. So I'm really disappointed in the fact that we're all volunteers and we're all trying to provide a service for our community, and as a group incurred a lot of trouble. We had to move locations, we had to find another location for our groups to carry on. Some of our people that come to our group find it extremely difficult to move to another area once they're used to an area. So that we had all of that to deal with as volunteers with our group. And I feel a little disappointed in the way it was handled. I won't lie.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, all I can say is that we do our best, which maybe for you is not good enough, but...
I didn't say that. I said that I was disappointed. It's not about not being good enough. It's just about being disappointed.
Let's just go back to the fact that you're mentioning that you couldn't use all of the rooms. I think it was actually hired because... And you were the only people actually using the whole venue,
but we were paying for every room, but we weren't able to use the room. We were.
Linda?
Yes, paying for all the rooms, but that was the agreement. The fact that we then had to have the scaffolding up in that middle hall to deal with the new ceiling tiles, which you had well advance notice about. And I said, if you need to cancel it, please let me know. I gave plenty of notice about this.
So we actually told you that you couldn't use certain rooms. Is that right?
I said it was up to them if they could use the other rooms.
Which occasion was this, Linda?
That would be in February when we had the new ceiling done. The thing is that...
We did cancel one, didn't we? Because we moved to Westwood Home.
We had to, yes.
We
didn't have a choice.
So we did cancel.
Because the problem is...
notice was given to your group.
I will have to check on that.
And then we were
told that it was done verbally with Jane and I.
And then we were told that it was okay to move back.
Jane was the one that
wasn't.
kept in touch with me about everything. Right? She was the person that booked the hall in the first place. She's the person I dealt with. And I kept her appraised all the time. We had a lot of correspondence, so in the end I had to ask her to not use my private address via Facebook, but to put everything on the email address for the hall.
Okay. So we were sort of in touch with
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I have to disagree there, Linda. I have to disagree. I mean, there was so long between communications. And verbal communications in any organisation doesn't work. And we need
I think it was Jane who was verbally communicating with Linda.
Yes.
I think this is where I think you need to go back to Jane and say...
Well, I don't think we do. I think what we need to do is actually address the situation now, and we're here to tell you that we're not going to be paying any more monies. We've paid £300, and basically we're leaving the ball in your court, and it's up to you to address it how you see fit.
So what do you assess that £300 is for?
That is, that is for half the rent, and it allows, it allows for the costs to our organisation moving from one venue to another, the non-disclosure of the health and safety aspect of dead pigeons and blowflies in the facilities.
That was in 2022. That was not in 2023. By the January 2023, all of those issues were...
Not all of them, no, because the cleaning and everything else.
Well, we have a cleaner who goes in on a regular basis.
Well, you need to talk to them then.
Well, maybe we do, but
We
I think
have
that's...
complaints from other
But I think it's also cleaning is also...
Well, no, because we left it clean. We left it clean. That's what we did. We cleaned it up and then we left it clean.
I have to say, because I
So
have
that
reports that you
photograph
didn't
there
want.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Is the dust and the dirt on the surface, the top
There's
photograph
no
there.
date on that.
Well, I've just printed it off. I've just printed
I
them
know,
off.
but I mean, that could have been last year. It could have been 2018. There's no date
We
on it,
weren't
which is
using
not...
it last year. We were using... This is from
This has
February.
been going
We were
on.
using it last year.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you showed me these. I mean,
That one there is showing that the door is open because the door, all this was painted, and so that we couldn't use this room because of the fumes. We couldn't have any
But
of
you
our
used other
clients
rooms,
in
did
it.
you?
No, they were all right,
Right, so you used some of the venue.
but not all of it.
This is
So
why
that's
we
what
paid
we're
the
saying.
£300.
may I just say that I did... This was
Twice
the
we
whole
went into the
discussion
kitchen.
with Jane.
No, please, could that mean?
Well, she's talking.
Might say I'm talking. talking.
I know,
Linda
but
is
you cut
talking
across
over
Linda
me.
just now.
No,
so
no, I got
if you
the
want
first...
a proper meeting, you've got to give and take. And I've just sat back and listened. And every time Linda goes to speak, you block her.
Do you want it?
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, yes, I mean, this is
We'll
going to go
address-
further because
That's certainly.
you've used hot water, we've had the heating on, and we have provided a venue.
Okay.
And so I'm afraid we cannot leave it like this.
Not a problem, I understand.
Just let Helen, if you could just sit and let's just talk it through, okay? I think we're both at ignorance, okay? There's a lot of evidence flying around, okay? It doesn't help when you make demands, I have to
I'm
say.
not making
no,
demands.
it doesn't help when you
Please don't
say,
point at me.
when you make statements.
Thank you.
That you're only going to pay £300. That's not helpful to this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and it doesn't
I am
help,
telling
and
you
I
our
understand-
position.
Well, you know, we could have opened up and we could have said, well, our position is that we're not going to allow you any credit on the account, but that's just not helpful. What we're trying to do is get to a reasonable agreement between the two groups, okay? And I know that there's a lot of emotion that is in this.
Okay.
Okay, you're giving us your position, okay, and we're trying to listen to that and to understand, okay, and I don't want this meeting to break up without hearing everybody out, okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
fine by me.
you know, it doesn't help to get up and walk out because I just don't think that'll do anybody any favours, really.
Can I ask, well, it was getting very confrontational from certain parties, can I ask, is there any signed written agreements that we are renting the hall?
I think, do we have an agreement? Do we
I
have
don't know that I ever received the actual paper back from Jane, and this is one of the problems. But I have all the documentation, and you've seen most of it. There is a lot of documentation which actually says accepting the payment, accepting everything
Well,
else.
yeah, because
There's
at one
massive-
point I think I've seen a letter to say that check's on its way to us. Have I?
Yes, that was the £300.
No, you didn't
No,
put any
I think
value on it.
Yeah, there was an
So
agreement sent.
that was when and then the £300 was put through your door.
Right, okay.
The letter that came with it actually listed things that we weren't happy with that we wanted to discuss, and your letter to us said that you refute all the issues. I've got, as far as I'm concerned, I've got photographic evidence of the issues.
Right.
So you can't refute that.
Well, you
those
can if you
issues.
haven't got a date on it. I'm sorry,
And
but I mean
you-
it wouldn't
you-
stand up in court.
No, but it's not a problem. We've got the
We've got the
timestamps.
dates,
We have got the timestamps on the
I
on the
printed them off
images.
and they didn't come off onto that.
Okay.
We have. I also don't believe that we have signed an agreement. So the £300 cheque that we have actually put over was from the kindness of Together Again, not.
Right.
This was in good faith.
Yeah, and so we've got two issues here. We believe that the £600 is not £600, is less because we weren't using the rooms.
Right.
They weren't. We might. It wasn't that the rooms weren't being used by us. It was because there were things wrong, which is why we couldn't use the rooms. So there's that. There's also a huge cost to the problems that we had to have to move to Westwood Hay and find a different venue.
Is this where you are now?
No, we're at Polyfields now.
Right. Okay.
So you're probably paying a lot less, are you, there
I
per
have
hour?
no idea per hour what we're paying.
Because I think we charged you.
I don't have
think
anything to do
Linda
with that.
offered the very low rate of £20 an hour, which is well below what we usually charge for the whole of the hall.
No, it was £15 an hour, and there was the £20 an hour, and we only did it for 3 hours, so it was £60, wasn't it?
It went up to £20 this year as our rates went up.
All our
Yeah, I
costs
sent
went up
out
hugely.
letters because obviously, you know, everything's gone up with water,
And that was with
electricity
discount.
and gas. So it was discounted from, I mean, no way did it cover our costs for the hours that you were there, but we were...
Do we have that in writing that it was discounted?
well, I mean...
Yes, actually, Jane has used it There's quite a lot Jane has written that you probably aren't aware of.
Oh, I'm sure they would be in the files. But the thing is,
No,
we're all
I don't
very
think
busy.
so.
We're all very busy. Well,
A
that's
lot
your
of
choice.
it was personal messages to me, so have you seen all those?
I don't know, but I can always ask Jane, I'm sure.
Well, you might be surprised.
Okay. Well, I think you might be surprised in our stance. And this is it. Yeah, we hired a community hall off of you. There are no disabled facilities in there. It's not accessible in the bathrooms or toilet.
But you knew that before they united it.
I didn't know that.
Well, you're speaking on behalf of someone else.
I thought that as a community thing, you had a.
It's not a community.
It's not a community hall?
No, it's a church hall.
Oh, it's a church hall.
It's owned by the PCC.
Right, okay.
And we don't have the investment to actually, we haven't got grants or anything because it's very difficult to get grants for church halls as opposed to community halls. And because there are other halls in Appledore, which of course you could have used, there is the community hall and there is the Blue Lights hall. So all of those do have disabled access and disabled facilities.
Right.
But it was agreed, I mean, Together Again, it's not the first time you've been here, maybe as Together Again, but you were here as, what were they called before, Seize the Day? Or
Last autumn.
whatever it was called before.
We're not here to talk about past, we're here to talk about what's going on now.
The facilities are what they were, and they haven't changed since then.
Apart from the kitchen.
The kitchen
The kitchen was okay for C's to have a good rating from
The kitchen is exactly the same.
The kitchen is dirty.
It's not, because I was been in there and cleaned it.
I've got photographic evidence. I've got 2 photographs there of bins that were full that weren't emptied.
They just hadn't been emptied that one time.
The bins are not supposed to be used by people, are
Every
they?
single morning before the session, one of our volunteers has to clean because the kitchen is filthy.
Well, we don't have a cleaner in every day. That we couldn't afford it, because that's why
the commercial kitchen.
Well, you see, and again, that's the difference, because the hall is a charity. We are a charity.
We.
Yeah, so we're both charities, and you know, as charities, we're dependent. Well, we're actually dependent on our congregation giving us money to support the hall. So if you think about it, if you're not paying for the services that we've provided to you, our congregation...
It's not that we're not paying you for the services. We are withholding money because there was a cost to our group as well. So
it's a cost to us because the electricity that was used, the hall that was used, will come out of church funds. It won't. Ultimately, it comes out, and the congregation will end up paying if you don't pay.
Right.
If you don't pay for
so I'm supposed
what
to have
you've
guilt
used,
with that. I'm supposed to have guilt with that.
No.
Okay.
If you don't pay for what you've used, then ultimately we have to pay.
Let's go, please. I really can't believe it. This is the stance. Yeah, we've paid you £300. We're not paying anymore. Yeah. Okay. You can go forward and do whatever you feel necessary, and then we will reply.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
That's great.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Very disappointing.
Unreal. Unreal, mate.
Which one? What, you interrupting with "Oh Lord"?
Even your starting stance just now when you said about the lack of facilities. Yet members of your group have been there time and again and entered into a contract, whether it's right.
But there's been no contract entered into because the.
I've already said it.
Okay.
And agreed a rate. And
the rate that was agreed was £15 an hour.
Last year.
Yeah, and then you put it up, and then you wouldn't meet with us.
Yeah, but one of your group agreed the increase, and if you've seen our gas bill for the first month, 3 months is £2,000. It's gone, like yours at home, no doubt, bonkers. So that was the increase, but it was made clear before you started, and it was agreed by your group.
What part was made clear was, not made clear. The part that was not made clear, that it was unfit. It was unfit to be used.
No.
Health and safety.
Problems that arose were immediately talked.
No, there wasn't.
Jane and I talked all the way through.
Okay.
All the way through. I cannot help that she hasn't passed this on to your group.
But
Jane and I spoke all the way through, either verbally or in the messages, and there are lots of them. Lots of them.
When one of the sessions, there were flies landing on all the clients that were there.
That really dreadful day, and I came and I was down there.
And when there were pigeons, but why didn't we know that? We've got
But you
vulnerable...
You did. But what happened on that day? What happened on that day? When it was dreadful, wasn't it? Flies were everywhere.
It wasn't just that day.
And then following that...
No, you were there the whole session.
You must have known because there were flies...
You were there
but you
the
must
whole
have known before
session. You didn't turn anybody away. You still carried on. You used the kitchen.
No, we wasn't aware. We wasn't aware of it at that point.
You knew the minute you arrived
we
there.
Didn't know that the
we didn't know that. We didn't know there was
dead
we
pigeons were in the room.
We didn't know because of the dead pigeons. Because you asked us to keep that quiet afterwards.
But if you arrived and there were flies all over the place, would you not have thought, okay, we can't work in this?
It wasn't until we'd been set up for a
Well,
good 45 minutes to an hour.
Would you not have suspended the session immediately if you were that aggrieved?
We didn't know where the flies were coming from.
Right, but if you were that aggrieved about what was going on, the ideal scenario would have been to say to this lady here, sorry, this is unfit for us.
I believe that communication was sent by Jane because I have a copy of it.
During the session, if it was that bad, it would have been ideal for you to get up, walk out, and sorry, disappoint you people that came, and then obviously put in a complaint.
We did.
See, the problem we've got now is that you're complaining after the event.
No, we haven't had a meeting. We've been asking for a meeting since January. Yeah, but we asked for a meeting before then, I'm sure.
No, all the chairs were in that week, but I explained
every bit of conversation.
One of our volunteers had to come in and move the chairs with your chair moving.
Yeah, this happens, I'm afraid, sometimes, and I get it myself for the craft fairs, and I have to get the whole lot moved. It just happens occasionally.
If you're charging us the amount of money you're charging us, it should not have
At a reduced rate.
Yes.
I don't know anything about reduced rate. The money's the money as far as I'm concerned.
But now you know that we're charging you a reduced rate. You know, it's not a community centre, it's a charity.
You're
it's
charging
part
us
of
a
this.
reduced rate, but not so that you can slack on the quality of what you're giving us.
No,
We're
but
still
sometimes
paying
these
for
things happen when you're running volunteer organisations. Sometimes these things happen.
don't think
and the decisions were yours all the time.
I don't think it's the sometimes. I think it was regularly happening. There were regularly things
But
wrong.
you kept coming back.
Exactly. Why did you keep coming back?
Because we didn't have any other venues to go to.
You could have done. You could have cancelled. You could have done. But you kept coming back, and you were quite happy. Nobody at that time. I was even there a few times.
We were asked to keep it quiet, Linda.
We were
asked to keep it quiet.
Linda, wasn't I?
We were asked to keep it quiet about the infestation of pigeons. Why? Why keep it quiet? If you had nothing to be ashamed of or anything else, why ask to keep that quiet?
Because there are some people who want to save pigeons, and we didn't have a way of getting them all out of the roof when we were trying to repair the roof and make that roof fit for purpose. And
but they were dead pigeons. How can you save a dead pigeon?
No,
it's dead already.
Pigeons nesting.
Well, there were pigeons that we did it after the nesting season.
Excuse me. Sorry, I don't. What do you mean by amazing fellow?
When you say about saving dead pigeons, what do you mean by you cannot save dead pigeons? Do you think we can save, just because we're a church, we can save dead pigeons?
No, not at all.
Where
are you going?
Part of the roof at cost of many thousands of pounds to try and encourage them all to fly out, because there were hundreds in there. So we actually, in repairing the roof, we took another elevation off, which we didn't need to, because it was sound.
To allow them out.
And that was the only way, because of the passage of the interlocking roof spaces in there, there's 5 different, to let them out. So we did that at thousands of pounds cost. But some were still trapped in there that we didn't know about until the flies.
Yeah, we didn't know, and that was
And
the whole
then
point.
we had to spend another £3,500 on replacing that ceiling in the small hall with the back door, so that we could actually, because we deduced, so we actually prized a couple out to get up there, and I got photographs on my phone, where we discovered these dead pigeons. So we had the roof replaced, that was another like 3,500, and that was when the dead ones were removed, and then that was the cause of the flies. So we spent thousands trying to be nice to pigeons.
And also a lot of our other hirers, well, all our other hirers, have been very sympathetic about it.
It's been a nightmare.
We've been very sympathetic. We didn't talk about it. We've kept it quiet. We've been very accommodating in a lot of ways. We've had to move
So
venues.
why now, if you suddenly decided you're not going to pay us for the time you've been there?
It's not about not paying you. It's about there's a cost to us as well. I'll tell you what, if it comes to it, we'll pay the rent and then you pay for our time moving venues.
Why should we do that?
Ah, see, now this is where we get to a crux. I don't see any point going further.
We actually, and when we decided to give you a bit of notice so that you didn't have to suddenly stop all your clients who were due the next week, you suddenly said, "Oh, we're not coming anymore," and we actually were giving you a bit of latitude, giving you a bit of notice.
Can you, I guess you can quantify quantify the actual cost.
Oh, yeah, not a problem. Yeah, that's not a problem to us. Yeah, we can quantify that.
But it's classed as consequential.
Absolutely, I know it is. I mean, we'll just have to go down whatever route we take, don't we? Yes. At the end of the day, I can't see us moving any further forward than what we have. We've discussed it, and I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry that it's been like this.
It's not something we enjoy.
Oh, I noticed.
There's the Excel sheets of our costs.
Okay. Yeah.
The top shows the rooms that we couldn't use, that there were some rooms.
I think the thing is, Helen, we worked it out to be £510 worth. You still insisted on invoicing us for 600 and sticking to that 600. So I was forced to put into the accounts the cost to move, and the cost it's cost us to talk about
deal with
it
this
and deal with the issue and take the photographs and print the photographs out and
everything else that goes with it. Organisation, phone calls to groups.
Okay. So
I think the thing is,
it.
I think the thing is also, you have to remember that even if you only used one room in the hall, we wouldn't have been able to rent it or hire it out to anybody else because of safeguarding. We have this with the Brownies. The Brownies only use one very small space in the hall, but obviously we can't rent out the rest of the hall because of the safeguarding issues that you have with children, vulnerable adults, etc. So even if you only use the lounge, you know, we would not have been able to hire any part of the hall because you were in there, and we're very conscious of all our safeguarding responsibilities. So, you know, it's irrelevant really, you know, whether you weren't able to use some rooms. I mean, some people, you know, like the Brownies, have to take the whole hall, but they just use the lounge.
But the reason why we couldn't use the rooms wasn't because it was because they were dirty or the gloss paint was on or obviously the work was
no
done
electric
on the
on
roof.
one time, no heating another time.
The chairs were in the wrong room.
But I think Linda's saying that
issues that we had to put up with every single week.
Okay, thank you. I think Linda is actually saying that Jane actually communicated with her and she responded to Jane. So I think you have to have conversations with Jane as well.
We can go and have conversations.
I would definitely, I would definitely do
so.
that.
Well,
I would also, I'm not sure if you know, do you know that Jane wrote to the diocese accusing accusing Linda of coercive power and abuse? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware of that. That was
on the 21st of March.
Oh, that's 21st of March? No, I don't think.
On the 21st of March, I
I
had a letter.
I can't recollect, but I can check my records.
I had a letter letter from the diocese and a copy of Jane's email to the diocese where you were accusing us of coercive and abusive power. I think you need to just speak to Jane and just really make sure that you have all the information that Jane has actually sent to us.
Let's do that. We'll call an end to this now. Yeah. Rather than going round and round in circles and emotions growing high, we'll call an end to this meeting. If you're happy, we'll reconvene.
I would go and speak to her and get all the facts that she and all the conversations she's had with Linda, and we can do exactly the same. And all the claims that you're making, both in your letters and this email, which I have to say was very strong and it was just awful.
Well, I think if one of the members felt that strongly that they had to write an email to the diocese, I think, they're probably not unfounded. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. No, but we'll see, won't we? No, I dare. Sorry. How dare I?
What we're going to discuss. Of course,
really?
You have an idea of what we were going to discuss.
And see what she wrote.
No, we didn't actually.
All right.
We didn't.
Don't get angry.
We don't know where.
It's not worth getting angry.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's
I'm sorry you're hurt.
I mean, it's pretty obvious the money, the letters that we
really?
sent to you. It's pretty obvious what we wanted to discuss.
Well, we both want to discuss the money that you owe us. That was very clear. That's very clear, and the reasons why you weren't going to pay it. The reasons why we suggest that you need to pay it. Okay, that's what we were going to discuss. But we just wanted to know from your perspective why you feel so aggrieved that you want to withhold payment of £300. And I think you've actually explained that to us.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think you're in possession of all the facts. I think you need to go back to Jane and really understand what she's been saying in conversations to Linda and to the diocese. And then maybe if you want to come back, then come back. But rest assured, I think we're of the same position as you. We will not let the £300 go.
Okay.
That you're opening that's
fine.
Unless you can actually tell us that there's something different to bring to the table. All the evidence here suggests to me that when you had complaints, they were addressed to Linda. She addressed them, and you chose to continually use the hall.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
and I think that's where our stance is.
Okay, well, we both... thank you for meeting with us. I appreciate it. I really do. We'll go back. You'll take it forward how you want to take it forward, and we'll do the same. And hopefully we can come to some resolve in some way, shape or form. If not, then...
But you must understand that we are a charity.
And you must understand we are too. So it is what it is.
But I'm not sure that you understand that we don't have any money. And all the money...
You don't understand that we don't have any money.
No, but all the money that we have comes from our congregation. Yeah? So it's not as if we have a big open bank account that we can just let the £300 go. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
and it's not that we've got a big bank account that we can let the £300 go.
But when you make commitments to spend money, you should honour those commitments.
Okay, are you saying that the reasons that I've given for not paying not having the rooms available because of your fault are not good enough reasons for me to say we owe you 510 and you to say you owe us 600?
I'm saying that you're not in full, you haven't got all the facts. I ask you to go back to Jane and get all the facts in terms of when you raise complaints, they were dealt with, okay? So I ask you to go back to Jane and confirm what she has spoken, what she's said to Linda, and Linda's got all the information to hand. And if you want to,
it's a shame we haven't got that now, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a real shame, both on both sides, really.
Well, we have.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So you're not prepared.
No, you need to go back to
liaise with Jane. She's
okay.
speaking on your behalf.
Right, then let's do that now. Let's leave right now. Okay.
The conversation
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciated. And please don't be upset. If you can help it. She's extremely
extremely...
I have no idea what the letter contained, obviously.
Especially not with me.
Well, I think... I think if you, once you know what's in... Well,
honestly,
once you know what's in that letter to the diocese, I don't think you'll be...
Okay.
Yeah, I think, you just need to go back and ask her exactly what she's written and what she's complained about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
Well,
you very much.
thank you.
Thank you for your time. Bless you. Thank you. No problem.
Let's go that way.
Yeah. You right?
Yep. Thank you.
Cheerio. Can we hurry up? Sorry? No, it's all right. Take your time, there's no rush.
Bit more space.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Right. I was going to put my hand out just now and then caught her eye.
Ah, well, take care, yeah?
Sorry?
Put my eye.
Yeah, when you came
Oh,
around the
yeah,
corner,
when
I
I
was
was saying
holding my hand because I didn't think
Thank you
you
very
came in.
much.
I hope we'll...
Come to some agreement,
resolution won't
Absolutely.
It will be agreeable to both.
Good.
Amazing bit of carving, isn't it? Do love a good bit of carving.
The rain is set out again.
Mm.